All right, rotation. Definitely been my kind of buzz topic of late, especially with injuries and playing about every 3 to 4 days since October. So, at friend of the pod at Liam underscore Toomey. Apparently, he asked Lampard about Ziyech and Hudson Odoi, and Lamp said that both should be back in training before the end of the week, but he's not sure they'll be ready for West Ham, which I wouldn't
They're
expect them to be.
not be ready for West Ham.
Exactly. So, what the hell does that mean we're gonna do, Dan? You got Pulisic hanging on by a hammy. Silva clearly is gassed. Timo is gassed. Havertz is a shadow of himself. Solve our problems.
Man, I probably need some FA coaching badges. I probably need a lot more than what I've got right here.
Yourself.
I think there's a lot that you could do. I don't know if Frank will do these things. I think you could say, as much as there's been the debate around, like, will Giroud be the right type of guy in certain situations? We've seen matches where the chances Giroud doesn't convert are the ones that Tammy would most likely have no issue with. The ones that Tammy has trouble with are the ones that Giroud would not have a problem with, and vice versa. So that's just going to be, I think, a rotating carousel of challenges throughout the season. And so just on the day, run with the hotter hand, whomever is the one that's worked harder in training, and, hashtag meritocracy, all the things that, from a selection buzzword bingo, you would fill out there. But, if we are not going to have a healthy set of wingers, that is where I think the biggest challenge comes in then. And it's trying to figure out, well, do you want to go back into a 4-2, 3-1? Do you want to play like a really weird kind of setup with like the 2-2-2 and try to like figure out a solution where I just really try to play, do you want to do a diamond? Like there's lots of different options there. But, if we're saying that Timo needs a rest, Callum's out injured, Ziyech isn't ready to go, I mean, who else does he play? Like, do we put Mount back in the front three? Like, no, that's a bad idea. So, I mean, I don't know if I have a good answer. I don't think this lineup is probably what the answer is on repeat. Like, I just think that's what's going to happen. Maybe Kovacic comes in, PZ, but I don't think there's many positional options or different personnel options that Lampard's going to have.
I mean, the 4-3-3 is okay. This formation is okay. The trouble with it's kind of the ideal setup for it is to have Ziyech on the right and with his inside-out crosses towards two runners at the far post, which worked really well. And I assume eventually teams would figure it out, but unfortunately Ziyech hasn't been healthy enough for them to have an opportunity to figure that out. With Pulisic healthy, he's not the same player, obviously, and he needs to be on the left for his ultimate effectiveness, really. And the trouble with the whole Werner situation is that he seems to be better suited to play with Tammy, and just because Abraham is a bit more dynamic than Giroud is. Giroud is mostly just going to stay central, and that's fine if that's what we're aiming for. But if we have Werner out there on the left, and nobody who's getting him the ball, he's not really involved as we saw today, and when he is, he's not as effective. So this formation is fine, and obviously the injuries limit us in a way, but yeah, it's to be a manager. I mean, he can try. It seemed like we spent all of last season trying to figure out what formation we should play, what tactics we should play. And every time we'd happen upon a winning formation or a winning strategy, even if it was a one-off game, like with the 3-4-3 multiple times, Lampard would be like, this is it. We're going to play this for the next X amount of games. And then we'd lose immediately. And we're like, oh, this isn't it, obviously. So that's one of my major issues actually with Lampard, is that he seems to do the style of management I would do in Championship Manager or Football Manager, where if something is working, I'm not going to change it until it stops working, which is fine in a video game because nobody cares except me. It's less fine if you're paid to be a top manager, in which case you might want to be a bit more proactive. And I get it that we found this 4-3-3 and it seems to have worked really well for a while. And there's obviously a school of management that people like Conte and Sarri and even Mourinho subscribe to, where you just play your game and you force that game onto the opposition and you beat them basically using, instead of adjusting to your opposition, you say, this is how we play, and you adjust to us. We're not at that stage yet. So if Lampard is going to be a top manager, he might need to start playing a bit more reactive. And I don't mean play on the counter, which could happen, but just maybe adjust to the opposition a little better. If I could tell or predict quite clearly that Wolves are going to go with a 3-man defense, then surely my man Frank Lampard could predict the same and maybe match up just as we did last season and beat them twice.
Mm-hmm.
Hat trick hero, that one. I think that's something that was actually it's a pretty healthy discussion in the Discord today. Was about Lampard, and is he a man with a plan? Is he experienced enough? I think we can all agree that his resume doesn't justify his job from a managerial standpoint, but we know how he got there, right? Right man, right place, aka transfer ban. Had to pay off Maurizio Sarri, had to pay off Conte even from the year before. It ended up just being a good fit. The fans are so upset for Maurizio Sarri. You knew if you hired Frank Lampard, you really can't do anything wrong, at least for a couple years. But here we are, to your point, PZ, it's easy to also throw out you spent 200 and whatever million in transfers. Yeah. But I mean, that's really not that much because we didn't spend any the window before. So it's essentially just 2 transfer windows in one. And it had some moving parts to get settled there. So I think what I like to hold on to as an optimist too is that he's done things that have gone really well. And I even think back to just a week ago, a little over, with the Leeds match, right? We tactically picked Leeds apart, in my opinion. I thought against Everton, we were terrible tactically. And I'd say we didn't have a good day out. With Everton, you had no natural wide players, which forced his hand. Now, you had a bit of a bad day out for the defense, which, to be fair, we haven't really had in weeks, if not months. So, it's probably, they're probably due for a wobble. And then, up front, we're on a downward trend that our attack isn't producing as many chances, and not clear-cut chances like we were even in October when we were really clicking and flying. So, I think that we've ran some decent opposition here. But overall, the question just comes back to, is Lampard perfect as a manager? No. Is he still learning a lot on the job? Absolutely. I think fans and it's up to them to decide how much time and patience they want to give him. I think it's up to them to decide if they think he's the right man or not. But I think at the end of the day, my only ask is that you support the club, even if you can disagree or want change. But I think it's weird that anyone would ever be like, I hope Chelsea lose and Frank gets sacked. To me, that's just not a frame of mind, Dan, that I understand, nor it's one that I really can consider to promote or understand. So I think not thinking a player or a manager is the best person for the job is one thing, but kind of how you go about supporting and expressing those things is just a different thing altogether.